Hello, I'm Xarkun, and this is World of Warships Legends. Now, I say that to you because, of course, I am a fairly recognizable name in the World of Warships Legends community. At least I think I am. I don't say that to sound arrogant or anything, but I do have nearly 9,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel at this point. And I think when I load into a game, there's a good chance that some people on the blue and the red team will recognize my name. And sometimes those people on the red team will recognize my name and they'll want to sink me, which can, in some sense, torpedo my ability to have fun in World of Warships Legends for those games where that kind of thing happens. But at the same time, sometimes you can sacrifice your fun for the benefit of your team. And that's what we're going to do today in the Tier 8 Premium IJN Battleship Hyzen. This is actually an old game that I've sort of had in the back catalog that I didn't really know what to do with, but I'm deciding to show it to you today because the enemy team is going to waste so much time trying and failing to sink me that they're going to lose the rest of the game, specifically one ship in particular, but some more ships aside from that. So what do we have going on here? Well, we've got the blue destroyer entering the Charlie cap. We're pushing up onto the Charlie flank pretty much alone. It's just us and the blue destroyer. The other battleship that spawned with us is heading more toward the Bravo Alpha side. So really, it really is just the two of us alone. We're coming out from behind the island, wondering if we're going to get spotted and have our broadsides blapped, because there is a Giuseppe Verdi out there, and I think there's at least 3 other battleships approaching. So that sort of seals the deal in the sense that we know instantly we don't want to push into this flank. There's actually 4 battleships. We see the grayed out icons of 2 of them somewhere between Bravo and Charlie. There we get a good hit on the Giuseppe Verdi. That's a Citadel. We're up to 43,000 damage, but our destroyer teammate gets taken out by a red torpedo. There's another destroyer in the vicinity, and it is a red destroyer. Speaking of which, though, there's the Elbing. He is spotted inside the Bravo cap. If we can get some shots on him, that would be ideal, but dispersion looks bad. Anyway, 4 battleships over here. It looks like they're going to be pushing in. An enemy destroyer somewhere off in the distance. Obviously, if we couldn't push into this cap before, we certainly can't push into it now, but take note of what's happening on the other side of the map. The blue team is inside of Alpha. Looks like they're dealing with 2 cruisers and a battleship over there, but they have like 3 battleships and a cruiser to contend with that. Then we've got our last remaining destroyer and other battleships south of Bravo. You would think our team would be able to take Alpha, but the rest of the enemy team is over here, so we have immediately adopted a kiting position. If we push into 4 of these battleships, I don't care what ship you're playing, you could be playing the most heavily armored battleship in the game, but if you push into 4 enemy battleships like this, you aren't going to be floating for much longer. It's a simple matter of arithmetic. You just count the number of ships on that side of the map. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 spotted/unspotted enemy battleships and 1 unspotted destroyer. Far too dangerous for one 75k health battleship to push into. So we got to figure out another method here. And remember what I have always said many times in the past. The goal of the battleship is to find a place on the map where where the enemy team has to push past its guns in order to achieve some sort of goal. So the enemy team's over here on Charlie. They have sort of indecisively just floated around to the north of the cap. Now it looks like they're maybe starting to push in. And notice that we are heading more toward the Bravo cap. We're heading back toward our team. We're assuming that even though these battleships have not yet made the move, they're going to either push forward and then turn toward Bravo, or they're just going to turn toward Bravo now. And if they do that while we're over here, then maybe we'll have access to their broadsides as they go. And also, we have to keep in mind that we are running from an as-of-yet unspotted enemy destroyer. We haven't seen any torpedoes in a long time, but don't worry, they're coming. And the destroyer is somewhere behind us. Of course, it's easier to avoid torpedoes if you are running away from the source than if you're pushing into it. Makes it so that the torpedoes have longer to go before they can actually hit your ship. And if you're traveling away from them, then it slows down their effective speed. Whereas if you're traveling toward them, it increases the effective speed at which they are coming at you. So you do want to be sailing away. And in any case, my team has taken out the enemy presence within Bravo, and there's only 2 enemy ships left in Alpha that I think my team is going to deal with nicely. None of those ships over there on that side of the map, the Alpha side, have any kind of vision other than what they can provide for themselves, because the destroyer is chasing me. You can see we're perma-spotted, and that is precisely because of the destroyer. My concealment is 12.6 kilometers by sea. We're outside of that range from all of the enemy battleships, and there are the torpedoes coming in from behind. They are IJN torpedoes as well, which means they get spotted pretty far away, and they do tend to spread out a lot. But because we're so far away from the source, they fizzle out before they can get anywhere near us. And then these 4 guys are just sort of sat here, inside and outside of the Delta Cap, 1 to the north, 3 of them basically inside of it. And they're shooting at us. They're not doing a whole lot of damage because we are angled as we're kiting. And basically, what we're doing is we're just occupying the attention of these 4 battleships and this destroyer. They're shooting at us, of course. They aren't dealing very effective damage. One of them did get a good hit into us, but they aren't dealing very effective damage. The destroyer is missing his torpedoes. He's completely out of position somewhere south of the Delta Cap. He could be, he could still be in the enemy spawn. He could have gone over to Alpha, tried to help there. Maybe he could have gone into the Bravo Cap and tried to deal with our destroyer, but no. He's giving our team free reign of the map on the other side, denying his team his spotting and his guns. Well, he's not denying his team spotting. He's spotting me for the benefit of these 4 battleships, but really, what kind of value are they getting out of that, taking pot shots at my angled armor? Looks like one of them has realized, oh yeah, maybe we shouldn't be trying to chase Xarkun to the edge of the map. Maybe we really ought to get into the Bravo Cap. But take a look at my position. Now I'm in the center of the map. I'm between Bravo and Charlie. And if this Temeraire over here wants to turn out of Charlie and get into Bravo, he's going to have to give broadside to my guns. So even though we have been forced all the way out here because there's a destroyer hot on our heels, even though that is the case, we are still, at least theoretically, able to do our job to some extent, which is good. We do want to provide some kind of value with our guns to our team. We haven't done that too much yet, but we've been having to run from this destroyer. In the meantime, our team did break through an Alpha. They managed to take it. They've got a cruiser cornered all the way up there between the Bravo and Alpha caps. They're going to sink him, and that leaves the 4 battleships over here. Now, I don't know if these guys came over to this side of the map because they recognized my name, or maybe they just wanted to shoot the Heisen. At the time I played this game, I think the ship was fairly new. That could be the case. The destroyer is certainly chasing me because he recognizes my name. And still, we haven't seen too many torpedoes from him still, which is a little weird. You would think we would be seeing a lot more torpedoes. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, well, the destroyer has short range, so torpedoes, well, there they fizzle out again. Maybe that's what you're thinking to yourself, but no. The reason that this destroyer hasn't been torpedoing us too terribly often, and the reason he's been really no threat to us whatsoever, is because that destroyer is not in any way a torpedo-focused destroyer, not the one that's chasing us. Oh no, it is actually a Kitakaze. So a Kitakaze has spent the last 10 minutes, well, 9 minutes and some change, the last 10 minutes sailing from the Delta Cap into our spawn, chasing me from Delta all the way to Alpha, only so that he could fail to torpedo me from behind. And meanwhile, look at what's happened to his team. All his battleships are in one side of the map. My team has both Alpha and Bravo. The only way these guys can win at this point is if they go into Bravo. I'm still in a position where I can punish the Temeraire for doing so, and then the rest of the enemy team is still so far out of position that they can't even threaten the Bravo cap. Once this Temeraire goes down, that's pretty much it. And plus, those two remaining battleships are right next to each other in the same grid square, which guarantees that they will not be able to get any crossfires on my team. But they themselves are caught in a crossfire. They've got me down here. They've got two battleships in the center of the map. They've got one battleship over in the north of the map, just north of the Alpha Cap, that can push forward. So they're in a hopeless crossfire. They can't possibly maintain angling to all these sources of damage, and they're going to lose. And plus, the Kitakaze still somewhere behind me, somewhere so far out of position, he hasn't bothered to take a cap. He hasn't bothered to do spotting to his team. He's just tried and failed to torpedo me this entire time. And now, our friendly DD is approaching our spawn. You can see him over there, 10.5 kilometers away. I think he's coming down here to probably get torpedoes on these two battleships, but he's done a good job up until this point, and he may actually realize that the final remaining enemy destroyer is down here. I don't know if he's got RPF or something like that, twist and track I mean, but he does seem to know that the destroyer's out here, and he is going to find him. In any case, this hasn't been the most riveting gameplay you've seen, I'm sure. We've just kited from one side of the map to the other, with the entire enemy team chasing us. So not the most riveting gameplay. We don't have the most damage either, only 94,000. But I don't think the value of what we did can be overstated. If we had simply pushed into that Charlie cap, we would have sunk early in the game. And we wouldn't have had any opportunity to have any impact whatsoever. But instead, we ran away. We knew that if we did run away, we wouldn't be likely to have all that much fun, and we certainly didn't. There, by the way, is the culprit that's been chasing us this entire time, so little bit of vengeance into him. 6k off of his HP pool. I assume he's torpedoing me again. Our destroyer is doing a good job in whittling him down. There are the torpedoes. Unfortunately, this entire set we cannot dodge. We managed to take 2 of them. So this Kitakaze has spent the last, 13 minutes chasing me, only to hit me with 2 torpedoes. He's now blind to our position, can't quite see us. We're going to put this plane in the air, hoping it'll tighten up our dispersion, or maybe spot him if he's outside of the smoke screen. We don't want to take a blind shot because I don't want this guy to get the killing blow after wasting his entire game chasing me and failing to do really any significant damage until now. He comes out of the smoke. There's the Z-44. Wow, it's actually a Z-44 that's pursuing him and playing this good of a game. Probably not a bad ship. Actually, a good player in that Z-44. GG's, my friend. In any case, Kitakaze launches his dying rack of torps, and I don't think they're going to come anywhere near us at all. There's only one enemy battleship left. He's got no chance against the combined forces of the rest of my team, and we basically end this game with only 104,000 damage done. But we're still going to place relatively well on the leaderboard. We're still going to get over 2,000 XP. And mostly I just wanted to show you this video because even if you're not somebody like me, even if your name is not recognizable in this community, even if you don't have a YouTube channel where you broadcast your thoughts on this game to anybody who cares to listen, even if you don't have that, you could still play a battleship. You could still be focused down by an overzealous destroyer that wants to chase you into your spawn. You could still have a majority of the enemy team come over to your side just because. I mean, you never know what's going to happen in World of Warships Legends. And if something like that does happen to you, consider for a moment. Sacrifice your fun. Maybe play a little bit carefully. Play defensively, as I did. Try to keep yourself alive while still doing damage and tying up the enemy team for as long as possible. In that sense, you're doing one of the roles of the battleship. You're tanking. And if you're a good enough distraction, well, maybe the enemy team loses due to their own poor positioning. Hope you enjoyed the video. If so, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.